Hello and welcome back to another Just An Opinion movie review. Today's movie is Arizona. Um, so basically, I'm gonna give the premise. I think with the last episode I kind of like explained like the whole movie. I don't think I'm gonna do it this time. I think I'm just gonna give you point by point, and so there will be spoilers. So the movie starts off. We are introduced to Cassie Fowler. She is a real estate agent, and I should say this takes place in, doesn't give like the exact date, but I'm pretty sure it's 2008. If anybody was around in 2008, there was all the banks were giving out loans to people to buy houses, and basically they were giving loans to people who didn't even have like a credit score or didn't even have the money to own a house or something like that. And basically the market crashed. So we're in Arizona. Cassie Fowler is trying to sell a house, and then she hears somebody screaming. She goes and breaks the door down and finds a guy who is trying to kill himself because he doesn't have the money. We later find out that Cassie is also in debt. Yeah, she's in debt, and she's about to get her house foreclosed on her. And so she's like hoping that if she can sell this one house, it would be basically she'll get all the money that she needs. Later we go to her office where she works, and Seth Rogen's is a guest character, or I don't know what the word is, but he is the owner of the real estate agent, and his name is Gary, and so he's kind of a condescending asshole, and so he's talking to Cassie, and then Sonny, as played by Danny McBride, walks in, and he's like, "Hey, you sold me this house, and I'm about to lose it, and blah blah blah." And Gary's like, "Well, somehow he says moron. Somehow he calls Sonny a moron, and that just sets Sonny off, and so then he pushes Gary off the ledge, and Gary ends up dying. Then Sonny sees that Cassie was watching him, and then he knocks her out, and then takes her back to her house. And so the whole premise of the movie is, Sonny's like, "Hey, I made a bad mistake," and Cassie's like, "Yeah, that's fine, just call the cops, And as he's got her tied up in his house. And as he's about to like let her go, because he's kind of come to a realization that oh man, I fucked up. Sonny sees a ring on Cassie's finger, and he's like, "Oh, you're married?" He's like, and she's like, "No, I'm not married. This helps me get more sales." And then that just sets Sonny off. He's like, "Oh well. Okay, so you're lying to me too." So I think Sonny is an idiot. Not an idiot, but not I don't know what the right word is, but he's not he's an intelligent guy, but he doesn't think about his actions until after he does it. So he ties her back up, and then his ex-wife comes home, and they have an argument like, "Hey," and the ex-wife's like, and she's played by, I don't know what her name is, but she's played by the lady in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So, Sonny hits her with a golf club and knocks her out, and then somehow a little time has passed, and they come back and they're having an argument. Sonny and the ex-wife are having an argument, and then Sonny ends up accidentally killing the ex-wife, and Sonny later finds out shortly after, like, oh, Cassie has a daughter. He's like, well, they're gonna be looking for the daughter's gonna be looking for the mom, so I better go capture her. And so, so they go. He goes and leaves, and Cassie ends up breaking out of the house. They live. Sonny lives in a gated community that I believe it's not specifically said. There's at least 3 people living in that in the gated community. But it's, with the financial collapse and stuff like that, like, I guess most people moved out. So Cassie ends up running, and she finds the gate attendant. And the gate attendant he's an idiot. He's like, I should help you, but they're not paying me. So she's like, I don't, give me the fucking phone. And it's like, dude, she's covered in blood. You might want to help her out. So a sheriff ends up rolling up, and instead of Cassie calling the police, she ends up calling her ex-husband, which is his name is Scott. It's played by Luke Wilson, and he's got his new girlfriend, Kelsey, who's played by Elizabeth Gallus, who's from Victorious. At least that's where I know her from. So he's like, oh well, she sounds scared, so we should go help her. So now Sonny's made it to Cassie's house and abducts her daughter, and then brings her back. And now Cassie and the sheriff are going to the house. They went to the wrong house. The sheriff breaks in and then gets immediately pepper sprayed, and then he accidentally shoots the lady. He's like, who did I shoot? And then Sonny comes in and shoots the officer. He's like, Cassie, you lied to me again. So they dispose of the body, and then later on they're burying Sonny's ex-wife, and then Cassie ends up hitting Sonny with a shovel, and then the daughter and the mom run off, and then that sets our premise for just a complete insanity of Sonny just like chasing. Somehow he knows where they're at, even though they've at least had a head start of at least 2 or 3 minutes. He's like, I bet you they're in the sewers. He doesn't say that, but he's just like, they're probably in the sewers. So they end up getting out. Sonny somehow they find a car. The Cassie and the daughter find a car. They drive it to the gate attendant, and somehow Sonny just knew that they were gonna be there. So they end up shooting the windows. They crash, and then he ends up sticking a dog on them. The dog was the gate attendant's dog that he killed. And so the dog turned around because the dog's like, oh, well, they ran far away, so I'm just going to attack this guy. So the dog attacks Sonny, and Sonny kills the dog. The 2 girls go into a pot house, and then now Luke Wilson and the Kelsey are rolling up, and they're like, hey, talking to Sonny, going, hey, have you seen Cassie or my daughter? And he's like, oh, they're your ex-wife and daughter? Well, I could help you. So they go, they're yelling out like, hey, Cassie, I don't know what the daughter's name is, but Cassie, I think it's Morgan. Yeah, it's Morgan. And then they find him. Well, Cassie ends up hearing Scott call, so she goes out, and then Sonny shoots Scott in the head, and then Kelsey ends up backing the car up, hitting a light pole, causing a fire, and then she ends up blowing up in the car, and then go through Danny being Okay, I was doing really good calling him Sonny. So Sonny chasing Cassie and the daughter in a pot house, and there's a setup to the beginning of the movie that these houses were built. First and second levels were all complete, and then the basement was left open, and they don't even put a staircase or anything in there, which I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard about basements not being finished, so you can finish them up yourself, and they end up getting Sonny to fall into the house, into the basement, and he ends up cracking his head, and the movie ends. The mother and daughter survive. So, and I said I wasn't going to explain the whole movie when I basically explained the whole movie. I did skip out some parts of some side stuff, but yeah. So as always, I give A, B. Well, I should explain it. A being buy on DVD, B being watch on Netflix, C being watch on TV, D being don't watch, and F being avoid as all possible. So honestly, I would give it an A. Now I think the only thing that hurts it, because throughout the whole movie, both Jacob and I were laughing, and the only thing I say what hurts it is the length. It's about an 80-minute movie, so it's not long, but towards the end it starts to get like, okay, can we like moving along? Can we finish this? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the movie. I would definitely check it out if you guys come across it. It is a pretty good movie. Yeah, so this has just been an opinion movie review. Later.